to get your child to read more books and eat healthier. My next two guests are educators and writers who've created a literacy and health movement aimed at improving reading skills and reducing obesity rates among Detroit children. Much of their motivation came from their own experiences. Adra Young struggled with her weight throughout her childhood and into her teens, and Yvelete Stines wrote a book titled Vernon the Vegetable Man when she heard about the growing number of overweight kids. The book encourages children to exercise, eat healthy, and set goals for themselves. I'm pleased to have Adra and Yvelete here today on American Black Journal. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Stephen.
Yeah.
So fun.
Yeah. So tell me, where did this all start for you?
With the health and wellness, I've worked in education for 10 years, and I'm also a writer, and I've written primarily for lifestyle topics of health for Black Enterprise, Essence, and I also received a fellowship in health journalism. So to merge the two, those are my two worlds, education and health, so I wanted to help our children in a sense because they're our future. So in order to change anything, start with the younger generation.
Right. So you wrote a book about a vegetable.
Yeah.
Vegetable man. Right. And give me an idea of the thrust of the book. I mean, I know it's hard to tailor those messages to kids in a way that they actually get it and do what you want them to do.
Sure, absolutely. So there's a little boy who struggles to play basketball, and he's on his way home because the children said he was a little slow, and he meets Vernon, who he initially thinks is an ice cream man, but he's a vegetable man. So Vernon, throughout the summer, gives him goals and health eating tips, and by the end of summer, he's reduced some weight and is very fast on the basketball court. And it also goes into setting goals as well for kids and their outcome.
And for you, this was a much more personal
Oh my goodness.
journey.
I had a grandmother who had a candy store, and I drank a lot of Coca-Cola in the bottle. So we know if we had those grandparents that fed us out of love, unhealthy foods, those habits stay with you.
Right.
Even throughout.
Very hard to break.
Absolutely.
Especially once you get into those teenage years and you're still eating that way. It's really hard to sort of switch
Stephen,
gears.
even with me in college, on top of already with my weight fluctuating throughout my entire life, and then of course going to college my freshman year and gaining at college.
Get that 15 or 20.
See, my weight
15 or 20.
So absolutely.
Yeah.
So when that asked me to merge with her, to reiterate the importance of literacy and health, I was just so on it and willing to do it because it really hits home with me.
Right. Tell me about the point at which you really realized, okay, I got to do something different for myself.
Well, absolutely. Eating fast food too much, and unfortunately, birds of a feather flock together. So I was hanging with people who did not eat healthy. And then it got to the point I said, you know what? I'm not feeling good about myself. I've got to make a change. And so unfortunately, with any unhealthy addiction, you have to sometimes remove yourself from those individuals or people.
I see, from the environment that sort of is
So I started to do things like exercise. I joined a weight loss company helped me with that. I started exercising, and I just started picking foods differently. Now, Stephen, I do a cooks and book show, so I still eat everything that I want, but everything in regimen, in an equal balance.
Sure. And well, that gets to the goal setting that you are talking about in your book. That's the way to sort of manage all of this. You can't say. And small goals, right? Manageable goals, not gargantuan ones.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Small and steady wins the race. And it's very important to have those small goals, have your wins, and celebrate that for yourself.
Yeah.
Be gentle with yourself.
When you think about the city and where people learn their eating habits, there aren't a lot of, in Detroit, it seems like there aren't a lot of great outlets to learn to eat more vegetables and less candy, for instance. I mean, it's sort of the way that groceries are set up, the way that there's still a liquor store on every corner that sells candy and chips and all of those things. It's almost like you're set up from the beginning to develop bad habits.
Exactly, which is why we're doing this event, because we both know the younger that you instill healthy habits, 9 times out of 10 you will continue that lifestyle.
Right.
Whereas not necessarily that when you're an adult that you want. You can if you set your mind to it. But if I'm being taught, hey, maybe I should drink more water, eat more vegetables at the age of 8. Hey, maybe if I read more, the better it will get, and it will continue to do so.
Yeah. Well, what about the schools? You're writing a book that's encouraging healthy eating. It seems like that book maybe should be in schools or books like it.
Yeah, they are in some schools, and I think literacy is extremely important too for any writer, any budding writer.
Right.
You need to read. I personally had a reading challenge. I'm dyslexic, so I use that also as a catalyst that anything is possible.
Right.
Particularly for the youth. It's not a challenge. People consider it a learning disability, but
Sure.
you just learn differently, and it's an ability to think creative and out the box to follow your dream.
Right. And tell me, how did you meet that literacy challenge? Was that something that school was able to help you with, or did you have to go elsewhere?
I struggled for a while. My 9th grade teacher picked up that I was dyslexic, and from there I just became extremely aggressive in learning new ways of learning, because English was my favorite subject.
Right.
It was also my most difficult.
But it was also hard. Sure.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So with that, it was beautiful. And then I also focused on dyslexia and the dyslexic child in the classroom for my thesis for my master's. So it's something that's really passionate. I don't really lead with that all the time, but it's important.
Yeah. Well, and part of this whole campaign that you guys are undertaking is about literacy too, right? Tell me about that end of it.
Well, sure. We know that, hey, even in my classroom, it does not matter what level you're on. We always talk about the big G. So I don't care if you're reading on the 3rd grade level. By the end of the year, we want to see some growth. So we're always talking about growth.
Right.
So if you're on level, I want to see you go beyond your level.
Right.
If you're somewhere in the middle, the goal is, Stephen, I don't want you reading at the same level.
That you came
when you came in September,
Yeah,
then
right.
I'm like needing to reevaluate my situation as an educator. But we've got to see growth. And if you do anything for every day for 30 minutes, I don't care. If you read every day, and I tell my parents, outside of the classroom, allow your children to pick books that they like, entertaining books. If your child likes sports, get some sports books. If they like food, you want to cook, cooking books, whatever it may be, allow them the opportunity. Take them to the library. Check out books.
Right.
30 minutes a night. I guarantee you the confidence will increase, and they'll even want to volunteer more when it's time to read.
Right.
And you can tell. Like I noticed with my kids, and I'm pretty sure Yvette noticed this too. In the beginning, nobody wants to raise their hand because the confidence is not there to want to read.
Right.
But once you get them going, I want to read. My turn.
Right.
And even with my 6th graders, the big kids, it was my turn.
Which is 6th graders to volunteer for
me.
anything.
So yeah, but it's all about making everybody feel comfortable. Don't worry about where you are. Let's just grow together. Let's all of us grow together. And that's the important part, the literacy suggestion that I'm always giving to my kids and my parents.
Right. When you're teaching literacy in Detroit schools, there are some real special challenges too in terms of the population and the environment. How much opportunity is there for kids to really get books, even in Detroit? Obviously, you guys are really focused in your classrooms, though, on overcoming that.
You simply, I know I am one. I will ask you shall receive. And so I ask libraries, I ask communities, I ask agencies, do you have any books? Can you give a couple, a set? And the library, you'll be surprised if you ask how many people are willing to give. And as far as your environment, you have to create that.
Right.
In spite of whatever your classroom environment or whatever is going on outside, we can't be worried about that. We have to be worried about what's going on in here and take it from there.
You create a community of learning, growth, a safe community. Trust is important. With my children, we do Memory Minute, which is kind of like centering and meditation.
Yeah. Really?
Formulate a community to focus and set an intention of having a wonderful day. There are a lot of issues that come up, but there's a corner And it's not go sit in the corner. This is a corner for me to become aware that I have an issue and I want to calm down or either write about it, we can talk about it later. So they have that mind, body, soul connection, because emotional intelligence and self-intelligence is just as important. So, and just, we can't worry about the outside. We have to set the goal and go to work.
Make it fun.
Yeah.
And make it
You gotta make it a little fun.
You gotta do that for, especially for little kids, right?
You have to, and you gotta remember as adults and educators, we're human too. We don't want to be bored. Make it fun.
You gotta sell it. You gotta sell it. All right. Well, selling literacy and good health. That's a pretty good pairing. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you for having us.
All right. That's our program for today. Thanks for watching. You can get more information about our guests at AmericanBlackJournal.org. As always, you can connect with us on Facebook and on Twitter. Plus, you can now hear our program on WDET 1019 FM. We'll see you next time.